Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of Over the Rainbow. I am Bobster, and I'm once again joined by True North.
Hello, everybody. It's me again.
And I think we have a pretty interesting episode here for you guys today. Before we kick everything off, though, I do want to mention that we have a Discord server now specifically for this podcast. So if you want to come hang out with us sometime, or it's a great place to come and ask questions. It's pretty bare bones right now, so bear with us as we try and build it up and make it a little bit more professional and easy to use. But we do have a Discord server now for you guys to join. The link for that will be in the description of this video. But with that being said, I think we're ready to get underway here. The first topic that we have here, I think North and I both have a lot to say about, or I guess opinions on, and that is going to be Smurf accounts and Rainbow Six Siege.
I think we both said we have lots to say about that.
Yeah, I'll let you kind of get started. So, what is your take on Smurf accounts, North?
So I think that if you're, people who Smurf usually they're like a decent player, they're not like a silver or a gold, they're usually like in plat, high plat, or mid plat, or diamond, champ, whatever. Now when they do that, there's an issue that I have. I'm okay if you like want to, buy the game again and get a Smurf account and everything. That's fine. But I think there's an issue when you deliberately derank yourself just so you can like destroy people in gold and silver, like, or even lower. I mean, if you're doing even lower, half the people down there are just Smurfs anyway. It doesn't even matter. But honestly, like, I don't think that is really. I think that's kind of, I don't know, toxic or whatever you want to call it. I don't think that's really a good use of your time, because you're not really getting better. You're just dumpstering on people who aren't at your skill level. But I think if you want to Smurf to as kind of like an extra challenge, as in like you only solo queue on it, or you try different stuff on it, or like for a lot of pros they have a Smurf account or a second account, just so people don't always have to recognize them and like talk to them in chat or whatever and all that kind of stuff. So I can understand that for pros and people known in the community. But other than that, if you're using it to just go dumpster on people in low ranks, I think that's kind of a dick move. I'm not gonna lie. What about you? What do you think, Bob?
So like, for me, it depends on why people have the second account. So, like you were saying, like if you're a pro player, if you're a YouTuber, a content creator, Twitch streamer, whatever, a lot of times you will have a second account where you can go on and play and not be noticed, just because you don't want to get noticed, sniped, whatever it may be. Or just maybe you want to go on by yourself and have some fun. I understand that 100%. And typically, it's only really a problem until they kind of get up to the level where they typically play at. Because maybe for the first time, once they hit level, that's 50 now. And
Yeah,
then
50.
after they play their 10 placements, they might be in like silver, gold, maybe. I don't even know if you can get to platinum, but soon. But like once you play a little bit more, if you're a better player, you'll get up to platinum, and then your MMR or elo will kind of stay there. That's fine. I mean, like you're an issue maybe for a little bit, beating out some newer people, but once you're at your level, you're not really affecting anybody, and you're just kind of using it as a secondary thing. I also know that some people have secondary or Smurf accounts for solo queuing. Like they might have their main account to play with a coordinated team and see how far they can rank up, and some people will have a solo queue account to see how far they can rank up. That I feel is also okay. I mean, after, like, I don't really have a problem with that, as long as, like I said, once you get your placement matches in and you get up to about where your level is, I don't think your solo queue account and your team account are going to be that far off. I mean, as long as you're still playing at the same level, I think that's fine. Just something that people like to do. I know that's been said on. I know that like Get Flanked has an account like that, and I know that like a couple. I think Mr. Onic has one too. But
People do.
yeah, I mean, it's not uncommon for people to do that. But like you said, the issue I have is with people making new accounts and not necessarily going into new players, but playing in the newcomer playlist. Like, That was
That's pretty bad.
designed for new people to come and get a feel for the game without getting absolutely slammed by people in casual, because in casual you can get put against anybody. And for people who don't understand the game yet, but it's become such a breeding ground for Smurf players just to queue up with like 3 other Smurf players, and then it's just a game of 2-on-2 with 6 other bodies in the middle of the mix. And it's no fun for the people who are trying to learn the game to just be getting wall banged by these guys across the map who already know where they are. Especially now that, I mean, we joined Siege when it was first starting, so we've been learning as we've been going. But if you're a new player to Siege right now, there is so much you have to learn.
Yeah,
There are
that's
so
for
many
sure.
operators, abilities, gadgets, how they interact with each other, the guns, the recoil, the map knowledge, the call outs, the bomb sites. Like it just goes on and on and on. And it is so hard to play catch up unless you're playing all the time. And for the average player, they're just kind of logging on the weekends, at nights with their friends maybe, and they're just playing to have fun. But it's no fun if you're just getting destroyed by Plat 2s, Plat 1s, Diamonds, and Champions who have just dropped down to the bronze or copper level and just decided to be like, hey, tonight I'm gonna have fun by making other people just miserable. Like that's awful. Like I think that's an
Yeah,
awful
that's
thing
horrible.
to do. But I don't know how you'd prevent it. I really don't, because I mean the Ubisoft has their 2-step verification thing now, right? Where you have to link it to a phone number.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think people can get around that though.
Well, I don't actually know. Is it phone number? Is it email? Is it like a Google
It's
Authenticator or
well for me, it's the Google Authenticator thing, which I had to use my phone number for or something
right?
like that. So, because like every like minute it switches a code that I have to use to log in, but I don't really know, man.
Can you have several accounts hooked up to the same phone number?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I've never made a Smurf account, so I would have no clue.
Because I don't know how that affects cheaters. So if you could have several accounts hooked up to the same phone number, I feel like that should be an indication to the game that, hey, this person's one account is like a Plat 2, their other account is a Copper 4. Maybe we should ban that Copper 4 account because, like, they're Copper 4 but with like a 2.1 KD. Like,
Yeah, like that's
I,
pretty
I,
obvious.
like I said, I don't know how it works, and I probably should know how it works, but I don't have multiple accounts, so full disclosure.
Yeah, neither do I.
Um, yeah, I mean, I personally can't justify spending the money to buy a second account unless, like,
Yeah, honestly.
overnight I wake up and I have a million subscribers, but I'd still be dreaming. But no,
Exactly.
I'm
Sorry.
just, yeah, no, you're fine. I just, I think that there should be something in the system that if you can't have multiple phone numbers hooked up to accounts, and whether you be cheating or smurfing, that account should be banned. Now, if you're cheating, everything should be banned, including your phone number. Um,
I have a nice little IP ban.
yeah, that's a good question. Have you ever thought about like if somebody gets a phone number banned and then they get a new phone number and then somebody else gets that phone number, their old phone number, and they decide that they want to play Siege? What do you do? How do you
I
convince them
don't
that you're
know,
not a
man.
hacker and you can't
I
play?
don't
Like,
even. Is that how it works though?
I have no idea. I think when you get your account banned, that whatever's linked to the account, whether it be the email or the phone number, is also perma banned. So you can't register a new account with that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I don't know about like the technical side of the game when it comes to like accounts and stuff like that.
You know what we need?
But
We need a
what?
dev on here.
A dev?
Yeah, if you're a Ubisoft developer and you deal with cheaters, banning, Smurf accounts, anything like that, please contact us on Twitter or join our Discord. We would love to have you on here and chat more about this.
Yes, that would be incredible.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, that's about all I have to say about them. About the
Yeah,
not them. I didn't mean to say it like that, but like
yeah,
Smurf to deliberately derank or playing newcomer just to dumpster on kids. Like
yeah,
that's not fun for anybody, except for you, I guess. But
yeah. I think it is a form of cheating in a way, like a
I don't know.
subtle
I don't know if
subtle
it's
form of
cheating.
cheating. I should say exploitation of newer
Yeah, it's
people.
an exploit. It's definitely you're exploiting
I
for
think
sure.
I think it's a bannable offense. Like I think if you have a Smurf, like if you're a copper, you're not cheating in any sort of way, but you have an absurd KD, but you're purposely throwing games. Like I don't know. I think you should rethink your life decisions, but that should be a bannable offense.
I mean, yeah. I mean, like at that point, I don't know. You should just be playing the game against people of your own skill level, honestly.
Yeah. But I don't have anything else to say on that though.
I don't think I do either. So we want to move on to the next thing then?
Yes. So the next topic I have here is, or we have here, I guess, the impact of the Buck Nerf on the current game.
You can go ahead, take it off this time.
Honestly, like if I see a Buck, he's along the same pick rate right now as like Knock. I just don't see him hardly ever. I mean, if you want vertical destruction, you pick Sledge. Why? Because he has nades, and that's simple as that. I mean, like Buck was the go-to because Buck has a good gun, he has a great gadget, and he had nades. He was just an all-around. He just had a good kit. There was no reason to not bring Buck on a majority of the sites. He's just very versatile. But then you take away his nades, and in the current meta where there's so much stuff you have to use explosives on, yeah, he has flashbangs and he can maybe burn an ADS or two, but he's just not as good. Nades are better. They just are. And like before, if Buck brought flashbangs, people would like laugh at you, like, what are you doing? But I just think that the nerf put him in a spot where nobody plays him anymore. He's just unplayable. And just to clarify for people, I play I'm currently plat 3, so I play anybody from typically like high gold to even high plat. Like I'll get into games with plat 2s, plat 1s, but that's the level that I'm currently playing at, and I also play competitively, and you don't see him. You don't see him in either one. He's just a rare occasion.
Yeah. I think Buck when he got nerfed, I mean in my mind it kind of made sense because honestly, there was literally basically no reason to ever bring Sledge because Buck, he had a better gadget in terms of you could open the vertical from from range, so you didn't have to be right on top, so you couldn't get as Buck you get C4'd way less than if you're Sledge. Because Sledge, you're walking right on top of the floor, have to Sledge right beneath you. But the Buck, you don't got to do that. You can open from a floor above that too, or a floor below. Like that's the thing. So that's one thing I think Buck is still good at. If you want to open stuff from below, you can bring Buck. But at the same time, most teams will just use the Zofia for that. So it doesn't. Again, like he's kind of just. I don't know. It's tough. Buck and Sledge. But then again, sorry. Back to how Buck was just better than Sledge and everything. Like his gun was better, his gadget was better, and there was basically just no reason to bring Sledge. But now there is, because Sledge has nades, and he's got the SMG-11, which is nice too, and he doesn't have a bad gun by any means. The L85 is pretty good. So, but yeah, you're right. Buck is barely played now, but I still think that some teams bring him if they still want that vertical play from below. Or if they don't want to deal with C4s as much. But again, you don't got nades, it's kind of tough. So I think he's kind of in a tough spot right now in competition with Sledge. Because that's the thing, those two operators are like competing for pick rate. But they do the same thing, or they used to do the same thing. They still do, except now you can't clear utility with Buck anymore because you don't have nades. I mean, other than burn ADS, but that's not as useful as being able to nade like a Maestro Cam or nade a player in general.
I really like what you said there though, is because Buck's gun is better, his gadget is better in a lot of ways. Now, granted, like the only thing that Sledge can do that Buck can't is like castle barricades, or smack evil eyes or deployable shields with a hammer.
That's true.
But Buck's kit for simple destruction was just better. His gun was better. But it's amazing that nothing has changed. His gun is still better. His gadget is still more versatile, better. It even has an extended clip. It has 6
Yeah, that's
rounds
true.
instead of 5 in the skeleton key. But the simple fact that he can't bring nades anymore, the only thing they changed was his secondary utility, and he even buffed his gadget a little bit, and it killed him. It killed his pick rate.
Yeah.
Which I think it goes to show just how touchy kind of frag grenades as a secondary utility are, especially on a good operator like Buck. And
Well, I was just about to say it's not touchy when it comes to bad operators. You like frags on Nuck,
right, yeah,
still doesn't get picked. Like never gets picked.
that's what I was
still.
gonna say. Ubisoft's answer, it just seemed recently, is, oh, they're not good, give them frags.
They're too good, take their frags away.
Now I still don't know why they ever gave Maverick frags, but
I think that's fine now because
yeah, he's not like overpowered now, especially with the introduction of Ace coming in. Like, I mean, you have 4 hard breaching options. It's honestly just a matter of like what you want to get open and what secondary utility you want to have. If you just want to get some hatches open or a wall open, you bring Haban or Thermite because they both have flashes. But I mean, if you want to get a wall open and maybe smoke plant, you bring Ace. And if you want to get a wall open that's electrified and you want to maybe destroy some utility, you bring Maverick.
I honestly think that next season, I don't know if it's going to be in ranked, but I'm guessing next season, and once those 2 ops are released and their quarantine is over, then or they're released, sorry, but once their quarantine is like done and they can actually play, there's going to have to be more bans. Like honestly, there's just too many. Again, there's too many operators. Like you can ban 2 hard breachers. Like if you really want to deal with hard breachers, you deal 2. You can ban 2 of them, or you can ban 1 of them, and the other team has to ban 1 of them. But then again, you still have 2 hard breachers up, and then if you're banning 2 hard breachers, you aren't banning Thatcher.
I was about to say
or
that.
Cali.
Yeah. Thatcher's on the board then, and that changes everything.
Exactly. And then on the defense, there's only so much you can ban, like in terms of utility. Like
I don't think defense bans will change at all.
Well, if you think about it this way, if you want to ban like so like this past couple weeks in Pro League, Echo was auto banned. You could not pick him, and the bans changed so much in Pro League. Like teams were banning stuff like Jaeger and Wamai. Like they were switching stuff up, and they were actually having some meaningful bans.
Mm-hmm.
But now since Echo's back in, either teams are not banning him, and the other team picks them every single round, or they are banning them. And then it's like back to Mira Echo bans all the time. And like even just now, like this play day today, I think is when Echo was released from that not allowed to get picked. He got played in pretty much every game if he wasn't banned. It was ridiculous. Like there was so many times when Echo is just always played. Like
he's good, especially now that he has impacts.
Good. He's so good. I mean, he was better with a shield, but like impacts are really useful now because you can impact trick with them.
Well, yeah, not even that. I mean, like just you don't have to bring another operator to make rotates. Even just small stuff like that. I mean, like if you were playing, I'm trying to think of a site where you need rotates, but you don't need a shotgun. I mean, like we'll just take for example, Clubhouse. You're defending downstairs in church,
sure.
And you want to make the rotate between sites, like so you want to make the vault hole in the hallway, and then you want to have a rotate to blue. You just bring Echo. He can still play in the back behind the black boxes, but now you don't need to bring a smoke or a mute to make those. Now, a lot of teams might still bring a smoke just because he's good, but you could maybe then be like, oh, well, now that we don't have to bring a smoke, we can bring an Echo and then a Jaeger and maybe a Kaid to electrify the hatches, and then you can maybe bring somebody else like trying to think of somebody else to impact trick the kitchen hatch. But like the point is like it opens up options. Or even if you're defending cache CCTV, you have the rotate hole from garage, you have the rotate hole to red stairs. If you're not going to bring a smoke and have him play cache and kind of throw the smoke grenades to the top of cache wall to deny the default plant, you can maybe bring a different operator that you could maybe bring like a Wamai to play garage or just something else. I think the Echo having impacts provides a lot more versatility as long as he's not banned for the defenders to pick other people. just to bring a different niche operator for a specific site, and can maybe open up some more interesting plays, just kind of like how Echo being banned allowed for more interesting bans.
Yeah. Like, honestly, Echo's kind of ridiculous. Like,
He's good.
He's really powerful. He's got invisible cams that can deny plant. Like,
Yeah.
and he's got an ACOG.
On top of a pretty good gun.
What do you want? Like, his gun is apparently it does more damage than the MP5. Is that
It
like the
does.
regular MP5?
Yeah, it has a higher
And
DPS.
it's suppressed.
Yes.
Like, what?
Right.
What?
No
It's
recoil
crazy.
and suppressed.
And more damage. Like, it's crazy. That's insane.
To top it off, he's still a 3 armor, but he has if you choose to go that route, he also has a submachine pistol.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that thing's some booty cheeks, but
yeah.
it's better than, like, I would rather have that than a pistol, especially because you're probably going to be pulling out in close range. You can dumpster people with that thing in close range.
Yeah. And
like you just have to hip fire it and you can kill them so fast.
The only thing you're missing out on is either a piece of armor or a couple stim pistols. And instead you get, like you said, you get 2 invisible cams and impact nades. Like, why would you not bring him?
Yeah, exactly.
He's in an interesting spot.
Do you think he needs a nerf? Because I think he needs a nerf.
I don't know, but like, what would you nerf?
Well, for one, I would make it so that teammates cannot spectate his cams. Honestly, I don't know why that's a thing. Like, even if Echo dies, as long as he left them in good spots, you can just call off them, and they're invisible.
Right.
They're literally invisible, and you can just call off them no matter what.
No, if I swing in a room, I can still see them. Like I mean,
sure, if you're looking for them.
If you're looking for them, but like at a first glance, you won't. Like, they're still, like, you can still see a Goob Mine, you can still see an Echo Drone, but you have to kind of know where they're at. But
you have to know where it is in general. Yeah. No, that's a good point though. I should stop saying they're invisible. They're not invisible, but they are very, very hard to see. Like, you have to be like, oh yeah, I saw the drone in here somewhere, and then go from there, you know. But yeah, I think he kind of does need that nerf. Honestly, he needs something because he's a little bit too strong right now. Just with how good he is, and like how often he's picked is ridiculous as well. Yeah. But anyway,
I think his pick rate is high, but I'm kind of in the same boat with Echo. I mean, they're very different people, but Mira's banned a ton, but I don't think she needs a nerf. I don't think she needs to go down to 1 mirror, because I think then she's actually useless, because all it takes is 1 Twitch drone and she's just a gun, and now there's a hole in your wall. I mean, but 2 tasers from Twitch drone, it could take down both things, but I think with 1 mirror she's useless. Not useless, but like, she's just nowhere near as good. But like with Echo,
I know what you mean.
Echo, if you take away the ability for other people to see on cams, would he still be able to see them when he's dead?
That's a good question. I don't know about that one.
Because if he can still see them when he's dead, if you're on a coordinated team, it doesn't matter. He's still going to be the guy giving callouts.
That's the thing. I mean, he's good in both. He's good in comp and he's good in casual. Like, he's good in both.
Yeah.
Like, there's no 2 ways about it. He's like really good at. He's really strong on both. So there's got to be a way to nerf it. So he's nerfed in both as well. So yeah, no, it's tough. He's tough to kind of figure out how to balance. But what was the other operator you were just talking about?
Mira?
Yeah, Mira. Sorry. I think the reason why she's banned is she changes how the game's played when it comes to defense. Like, she just changes so much about how you set up a defense, because once you place a mirror down, you instantly create a power position. Like, instantly. A site that may not have been defendable anymore, now it is, because you have this insane power position where you can hold out. As long as you got like some ADSs there or MIs, like, you can hold out and you can pre-fire people. You have so much intel on people when they have none on you. It just changes bomb sites, how they're played. It changes just changes how defense sets up certain sites. Like, she has big impact just by being like up just by herself, like not being banned. So I think that's a reason, because you get used to playing without her. You don't want to go back to playing with her, because you're like, oh, how do we deal with it again? What do we do? How do we even set it up? You know.
I feel like people have gotten way too comfortable playing without her.
You're right. Even when she's not banned, no one brings her really anymore.
If she's not banned, I will like yell at my team like if we're going to abuse Mira because she's here and we have the opportunity to, so we're going to use her. Or I'll play Mira. I have no problem with that. I like you were saying, like how she changes the game. I think the biggest thing is, yeah, you can have an evil eye looking down a hallway, but it's a whole lot different when you have a black window and you don't know if anybody's on the other side of that. An evil eye, you can see if it's lit up. You don't know if anybody's on the other side of that window. And chances are, if you're looking at that window, you're already dead because somebody just peeked around and took your head off. It's so, but I also just don't think she needs a nerf. I just would like to see her brought more. I think she's interesting just because of the way that she changes things. Because you can now hold things that you normally wouldn't have been able to hold before.
Exactly. She's an interesting operator, but she gets banned a lot, and no one picks her because she gets banned all the time.
Yeah. Maybe,
so people aren't used to her.
Maybe if there's another counter to her, but I would never want to make an operator whose sole ability is to counter Mira. I feel like that operator would also be just kind of useless, because if Mira's banned, then what is the purpose of that operator in the game?
Yeah, exactly. I think that hard bans, like operators that hard counter each other are kind of like a thing of the past in the game. Mm-hmm. I think what there's a lot more of now, which I kind of agree with, is you kind of have like I forgot who put it this way, but they said like soft counters, like for example, what's his name? I can't think of it right now, but like Thatcher, he doesn't just immediately destroy a maestro like an evil eye. It opens up and you have to shoot it, right? So like just the way the game used to work and now how they want it to work, it doesn't just outright destroy it. It doesn't like absolutely cancel their utility. It's like, oh, you got to shoot it now. It's open and you have to capitalize on that. You have to time it right. So I feel like that's a better way to do it, honestly. And I think that's kind of the direction we're going in. So if there was some way to like kind of like soft counter Mira, I mean, there kind of is. You just throw a smoke at it, right? And then you can't really use the Mira that well anymore. But again, smokes aren't really in the meta right now either. So
that's true.
It's tough, man.
I think kind of going on what you're saying with Thatcher, just something that I kind of noticed is anything more, I guess, old school Siege, like more original operators, early DLCs. Not even that anymore. Thatcher destroys them. Jaegers, bandits, stuff like that. But most of the modern stuff is just disable. I mean, look at. I mean, you have Malusi disabled, Evil Eye disabled, Wamai Disc disabled. Like they're all. I mean, I'm trying to think of other ones coming up. I mean, Echo is still disabled. Electric Claws are destroyed, but for the most part, all of the new stuff is disabled, and including some of the older things like Vout Cams are now just disabled for a short period of time. So I feel like Ubisoft's going in more the direction of, well, maybe we don't destroy everything that Thatcher just touches, but maybe disable stuff so it takes a little bit more teamwork and coordination to pull it off. Like, oh, if we know there's an Evil Eye here, disable it while we get the wall, and then somebody shoot it in the meantime, or something like that. Or even like disabling the magnets in the room so you can launch a ash charge at the Evil Eye to destroy it. Just things like that I feel like could allow for more coordination, but Thatcher does still have some sort of interaction with them. And
I think that's important. Yeah, sorry, you finish your... And I kind of interrupted you.
And the same thing as IQ.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, IQ and Thatcher, every season that electronics are brought out, just get better.
Yeah, that's very true.
Especially now that people have discovered the G8 with the angled grip.
Discovered is the right term. People were sleeping on that gun. They had no clue, and then all of a sudden, I don't even know who it was, but everyone was like, G8, 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 angled grip G8, ACOG, go, go, go. Everyone was like freaking out about it. Like, that gun has been on IQ since release, and it didn't get really buffed, did it? Like, there's no way.
The gun is the exact same. It just got the angle grip.
That's what it was. It must have been the angle grip.
It was, because it allowed it to ADS faster. Because before it had like a standard LMG where it's really slow.
Yeah. Like, that was the difference maker. It had to have been.
I believe it was.
Yeah. But yeah, we kind of went a little bit off topic
So we
there
started
from the
with
Buck
we started
nerf.
with Buck, but I mean, just getting Buck back to Buck real quick. I don't know what to do to change him. Like I want to see him brought more, and the only
I
times
think the meta has changed.
the only times I really see Buck being played is if you're doing underneath, and the only time that really happens is if like we're playing cafe defending top floor occasionally, and I mean like rarely will Buck go into reading room and open up beneath cocktail. But that's with like some semblance of coordination. And even from like a pro standpoint, I think just in general, from a pro league standpoint, I've seen less vertical gameplay this year than ever before.
Yeah, you might be right. Honestly, a lot of takes are just kind of horizontal right now, just dealing with the utility.
Yeah, it's more or less blow the wall open, throw a bunch of flashbangs in there, burn everything out, try and throw down if you're going to use smokes, do that. But other than that, you're going to try and open up a secondary wall somewhere else on the map and then go win some gunfights in the last 30 seconds of the round.
Yeah,
That's
I
what I
mean,
feel like it is.
like Buck, when Buck was being played, I remember like I went to SI, and when like Buck was brought every single round, no matter what. Like honestly, like in the finals, Rampy always every round was on Buck, and he'd be always opening up these like really long angles, like vertical angles. He'd be opening up all these different vertical angles, and they'd be using them, and they'd be getting picks, they'd be cutting off rotations, all that kind of stuff. You see that less now,
Yeah,
and it's a lot, and I think it's because it's a lot more dangerous with Sledge because you have to walk up to it. I cannot tell you how many times in this pro league so far I've seen people get C4'd while sledging the
Julia.
vertical holes. Like even with no info, just because either they do the same pattern and you can predict and they just throw a C4 and that's where they guess,
Julia.
or they just randomly guess and just throw one up, boom, or they have a pulse underneath, or they have a valve camera above. It's tough. It's tough to be a sledge player when you know that they have C4s because you're like, okay, I got to be unpredictable. First of all, is there any info on me right now? Like you don't know if there's a pulse underneath.
Right.
You don't know if there's a valve cam unless you have an IQ or you can see it. So yeah, I think that's one of the main reasons why there isn't as much vertical play this season.
Yeah, and I'm not. Yeah, like you said, like not saying there's no vertical play. I just feel like
Oh, not at all.
I
Yeah.
don't notice it as much, and like I haven't watched as much Siege as I normally do, and we'll get into that in our next topic. But I just think that Buck he's gone. Like he's just not used, and I don't know how to make him better. I don't think giving him more ammo in the skeleton key is gonna matter because he's not using the skeleton key. Like people aren't even picking him for that. You can't really buff his gun because it's already good. But what other secondary gadget can you give him on attack that's viable? I mean, beyond flashbangs and a claymore, give me one attacking gadget that's good or like desirable beyond like I mean obviously not frag grenades. Smokes, I don't really think that fits his kit.
Yeah.
And
It really doesn't.
breaching charges is pointless. There's
Yeah,
there's
they're
no
actually pointless.
reason. So unless they give him a secondary, like maybe the new secondary hard breach.
Oh, that could change. I mean, although that's if it can open a hatch, which I don't think it will because that'd be way too overpowered.
I mean I have seen some leaks on it, but
I've seen some leaks too.
I won't speculate on them because that's not confirmed. But what I've seen
Yeah.
from them is it just opens up a small hole that you can crouch through.
Okay.
It's
Do you
like
know if it can open up a hatch though?
I have not seen it used on the hatch in the leak I saw. No.
Because if it can be used on the hatch, then I can understand Buck getting it. But if not, I don't really I don't really know what he would be used for if he had that. Because like, what's he gonna do with it? If he's playing vertical, there's no point in giving him a little hard breacher thing. Like literally no point.
Yeah.
Because he's not at the wall. He's not with Thermite. He's not with Hibana. Like he's completely like he's above or he's below. So like the nades fit him perfectly.
Right. I think they need to give him back to him. I think they need to give him back to him, and in the current meta, I think he could
Yeah, but
actually
then
be
Sledge is never being run.
well, I think Sledge could still be run on like because like you were saying, like the vertical presence this season it just seems to be lacking. And Sledge could still be brought for that extra set of nades, but you could also maybe swap out then. Oh, maybe we don't want to bring in Ash or Zofia. We'll bring in Buck instead. Because Ash and Zofia are picked like 95% of the time, every single round, regardless of what site it is, just because they're the only people that can destroy things from far away, with the exception of anybody with nades.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
hard because you don't want to. I don't know if I want to give him the nades back because then Sledge, like, what do you get? Sledge is not going to get played basically ever, and that's what we saw. Like when Buck had nades, Sledge basically never saw play.
Yeah, it's such a touchy thing. I'm
It's tricky. I mean, right now Sledge is being played and Buck is never being brought.
yeah.
So it seems like we can only have one of the two extremes. It's just a matter of which one you think is better, or which one you'd rather have.
I do think that hard breach gadget could change it though. Like if you swap the hard breach gadget for Buck's flashbangs. Now this is going strictly off leaks speculation here, but what I've seen with the hard breach gadget, at least in preliminary stuff, is it's like a circular disc that you put up on a wall. And this I saw it. It was on Chalet Garage, but you put it up on the wall, and it essentially makes the same size hole that you would with like if you took a Maverick blowtorch and made like with one torch just a circle that you could walk through like that, like crouching walk through. Like it's small, but it's big enough that you can fit through it. Now, if it's that same thing and has the same properties as a canister, I don't think it could open up a hatch, and I think that's a good thing because that saves Hibana's pick rate. Because if all of a sudden you can bring somebody with a secondary gadget that can open a hatch, I think the only map that you really need to open more than one hatch consistently, it would be like Clubhouse. I mean, a lot of times you don't need to get a whole lot of hatches, and you're really only doing it as like a secondary, just line of sight or option that you have.
Yeah. I still don't think it would be very useful on him, though. I'm not going to lie. Like, I kind of disagree with you here. Like, the hard breach on Buck, like I said before, he's not going to really be... If you're using him properly to open up vertical angles, I don't think he's going to be anywhere near a place to be able to use that gadget, effectively.
I can see what you mean there, yeah.
You know?
But then how do you change him? How do you bring him back into the meta? Like you said, you don't want to give him nades. So what do you do?
I don't know. It's tough, man. It's tough to decide which one you should do.
Yeah, it is. I mean, give him one nade, one nade and two flashbangs.
That'd be funny. That's kind of perfect, honestly. One nade, two flashbangs. You cleared the ADS, toss in the frag.
There you go.
Anyway, we can talk about our last topic now, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
If you're okay with that.
Yeah. I kind of hinted on this before, with talking about like just me watching Siege this season, and North. I talked about this briefly before we started, but is this season just too much Siege? You can go ahead. Start. Okay. Yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily too much. I think it's just we had a long break and we never really got to, like, we kind of had a break of nothing for a really long time. Like, literally no Pro League on at all. And now we're back in the thick of it. And honestly, there's a lot of Siege. Like, there's a lot of Siege going on. Almost every day. Like, the Twitch channel, Rainbow Six Twitch channel is on, streaming something for Siege. Like, whether, like, I told you this, Bobster. Like, I wake up and I'm like, oh, Latin America played. Oh, APAC played. Oh, EU's playing today or right now. Oh, and then NA's playing tonight. Like,
yeah,
that's crazy. Like, I'm waking up, I'm looking at all these Siege GG charts of games that happened, and I'm like, what? I didn't even know. Like, what's going on? There's so much happening.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to watch everything. There's no way. You got to stick to like one region, maybe two, that's it. That's all you can watch. It's not physically possible because it's like almost 24 hours. It gets crazy how much Siege is being played, and it's great. Like I love watching Siege. I love it. Like I watch it so much. But there's a point where it's like, okay, I kind of want to do something else. I want to play the game maybe, or I want to eat or sleep. So, yeah, there's a lot of Siege going on right now, though.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I work a full time job, and so when I come home, I'm usually on playing with my comp team, or I'm making content here with North, or making just content for my YouTube channel in general. So when I do have time to watch Siege, it's normally not like a whole lot of time. Like I can't sit down for like a couple hours and be like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. And so normally it would be like, oh, I'd watch a game here, watch a game there, and maybe like see what's going on with like follow my favorite teams for the most part, really. But I think with this year, with the new style, NA Siege like takes up 3 times what it would normally take up because of the new system, which I'm not against. I love the best of threes. I think it's way better, way more interesting to watch, but it just takes more time. And so compared to, I mean, Europe has a lot more teams, but compared to like
They play in one day.
yeah, but like compared to like APAC region or something like that, like NA Siege is just so much longer. And with combine that with all the new production style, with like the desks and the analysts and the post game interviews and all the, like the breaks and stuff, it just makes it goes on forever. It does. And I feel like that kind of contributes to the quote too much Siege. I also just think the season is condensed. Like before we would have an entire year or entire like season, like, or a split, I guess, to, it was like 6 months, I guess. I don't know. Like 6 months was the season, and then they would,
I don't think, yeah.
then they would switch. Like it would be 2 seasons of Siege would be 1 season of Pro League. Am I correct?
I can't remember how the old system worked, but yeah, I don't really know. I think it was like you play one split, you play the second split, and then you have majors in between and minors in between, all that stuff. And then after that, you have, like, after the Pro League season is done, you have the Pro League finals, and then you have some more like another minor or something, and then you had all the qualifiers for SI, and then you had SI. I'm pretty sure that's how it worked.
Yeah,
like, I'm pretty sure.
I just think it feels like super condensed because, like you were saying, it feels like it's just Siege 24/7. Like you could turn on the Twitch channel at any time, there'll be something playing, and if it's not Pro League, it's Challenger League, because now you have Canada Challenger League, NA Challenger League, EU
Canada
Challenger
League in general.
Yeah, you have the Canadian division as a whole is now here, and imagine if they start expanding to other smaller regions. Like it's crazy. It's just insane how much there is, and for me, it's impossible to follow all of it. I mean, I really only follow NA and half of EU. I mean, I don't keep up with much else because I can't. I just can't.
You just keep up with the draft buff players.
That's true. Gotta keep up with my team.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I'll agree. There's lots of Siege going on right now. That's for sure.
Did you want to talk about the pro recap from like the past week?
I don't really have anything in front of me here. I mean, Rogue took first place in Europe, which is pretty convincingly. BDS is in second now. So, I mean, Rogue had a rough start against G2, but they're looking really good now, which is good. I mean, Rogue I think they're now, I mean, they've always been good online, but I think with the addition of Leon and Kurzeka, I think once we actually can have a LAN, once they get to LAN, I think they're going to tear it up. I honestly think they're going to do really well. And BDS is looking better than ever before. Like they're gonna be a top team at majors and stuff. I'm telling you. Yeah, I mean, if they can transfer what they're doing right now to LAN, that'd be insane.
I agree with that. I mean, like before they were always, in my mind, just kind of like a middle of the pack team. Like they were good. You couldn't overlook them, but they weren't like a standout, like like a standout team. Like, oh my god, they're gonna go win finals at SI. They were just kind of
Yeah.
like, oh, they're gonna like maybe do okay in group stages and make it to the first round. But
Yeah,
they've been looking much stronger this year.
absolutely. And then NA, you've got, I mean, SSG just won their match today against DZ pretty convincingly, and DZ looked really like very strong so far. But
Yeah,
one thing I will say, I think the reason why they look so strong is because of how like easily they beat TSM, and I think TSM, I don't know what's going on with them, but they're not doing so hot this season. Last season they were like number 2, right?
right.
And now they're struggling. Like they're still top 4, I'm pretty sure, but like they're still in that Group A top 4, but they are not doing so great. I don't know what it is, but they seem pretty weak right now. So it must be the roster change. They just need a little bit more time, or like Pojo, he's a really strong like IGL. Like or I don't know if he was IGLing, but he's really strong at like, being that veteran
Yeah,
on the team.
like
Like he's
like
been at it
coach.
for a while.
He's got a
Yeah,
lot of
he's the coach
experience.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
think I think NA as a whole though the region is just strong. I wouldn't say there's just like I wouldn't look at the region and be like, oh, they're a bad team. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like every team has a place there.
there's no team that's like awful.
Right.
Same with Europe. There's no team that's like really bad. I mean, you look at Europe, the bottom place team has 4 draws and a loss. Okay, think about that.
But
Like I
that's just
remember,
because draws are dumb.
well, that draws are stupid. But think of it this way: last season, or like for in NA when draws were still a thing, the bottom team was, I believe it was EG. Was it EG? It was EG, and they had like 7 losses. Like it was crazy. It was bad. It was really bad. But the bottom place team in NA has, or in EU has 4 draws and only one loss. That's pretty crazy, and they're in last. Like
Yeah.
it's close. Like competition in especially these 2 regions are close. Like I think all the teams, with an exception of maybe a couple, are still very strong. But even those teams are still pretty good.
Yeah, like I said,
They're not getting destroyed
I feel
or
like
anything
everybody
like
has a
that.
spot. Like it's not like oh my god, like how do they even make it this far? Like they need to be relegated. It's like okay, like under the right circumstances, I feel like everybody is competition
Win.
for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically every team can win, in especially NA and EU. Like any team could beat. I wouldn't say any team, but in the groups that they've put at least in NA, like the Group A and Group B, I think in each of those groups, in their respective groups, each team could possibly beat any other team in that group. Like
Yeah.
honestly, like we saw OXG just beat SSG,
Yeah. I
and
did
then
not.
SSG beat DZ, and DZ beat TSM. Like you never know what's gonna happen.
Right. Yeah. It was like just it's upset after upset. It feels like.
Yeah, and at this point, should we even call them upsets? Because
Yeah. No.
they're honestly, it's becoming the norm.
Yeah. I shouldn't. Maybe I shouldn't use that word.
No, I know
Bad
what you
word.
mean though, but like,
Yeah.
I know what you mean though. Like, it seems like they're upsets, but I think it's getting a lot closer for sure.
Just as a whole, though, what do you think of the new format for Pro League? Like,
For NA,
aside from the best of threes, but like the new way it's being run with like the
I
desks.
face it.
Yeah.
I mean, I really just want it to come to LAN because that's what NA is
Yeah.
supposed to be. It's supposed to be on LAN. Like, even without it, with online and just the way it's run, I like it more than the way ESL did it. So far, I'm liking it. Like, I'll be honest, the music, the ESL music when like the stream was up, oh my goodness, that music was awful. It was like blasting you in the ears. The Rainbow Six like theme music was terrible. They've changed that now, which is great. But like that, and just the way they kind of have it, and I can't wait for like everyone to be playing on LAN, and like you have a whole stage. Like every Pro League match is like an event,
Yeah.
That'd be really cool, but unfortunately,
We're gonna fly out there and
Can't
get
happen right now.
tickets.
dude, I would love to
That would be see it. That would be sweet.
go to Vegas.
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's go. Get your passport.
I've got my passport right here, buddy.
The only gripe I have with Face It taking over after ESL is Face It. Please make a website for Siege. Please make a spot where we can go and we can check the Pro League standings. And because
It's not really a thing right now.
yeah,
Unfortunately.
there's nowhere you can go to just see. Oh, I can click on EU and see all the EU standings and see like maybe all the players' performances over the entire season. Like that would be great. I don't know if Siege GG has something like that, but just
I think they do, but
like
it's not accessible.
like maybe just like a history of every game that's been played, the player stats for those games, their schedules coming up. I think that would be great. I don't know how hard that would be to do, but like if somebody just monitored that and made that, that would be fantastic. I would really like to see something like that. It would just make especially stuff like this so much easier because we could just pull that up and be like, hey, here's the games that happened this past week, instead of trying to dig through tweets and videos to figure out who played who and who beat who and how so-and-so did.
That's pretty true. That's pretty accurate. I wish that was a thing. I mean, I'm sure there's some standings out there, but it's hard to find.
Oh, yeah.
Unless you like follow the accounts on Twitter, follow the players on Twitter. It's kind of hard to figure out what happened during the day.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that's about it that I wanted to talk about. For
Yeah,
me, at least.
That's all I have, unless you had anything else you wanted to bring up.
Nope.
Alrighty.
That was fun. That was good talking.
Yeah. So just to reiterate, from the beginning, we have a Discord. It's a little crude, so bear with us as we kind of get it rolling. We're gonna have some help in building that because neither one of us are too experienced in Discord servers. But we're gonna have one so you guys can stop by, maybe even get to talk with us. Maybe we can play some games, ask us questions. If you don't have Discord or you're listening on another application, feel free to tweet us. Our Twitters will be linked in the description. I'm just _Bobster_ on Twitter, and North, you are.
Oh, my Twitter?
Yeah.
True North. I actually don't remember my Twitter. It's True North. It's at True North GTF2, but yeah.
Okay.
My name's True North. I got a little Canadian flag beside me.
Yeah, there you go. And that single pixel in your Uplay name.
No.
We'll have a debate about that another day. But yes, if you have Discord, feel free to join the server, ask us questions, or drop questions in a comment on our YouTube channel, or I guess my YouTube channel, because we don't have one for the podcast. Or feel free to tweet at us at any time, and we would love to answer them on a future podcast. But anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening to episode 3. We will be back next Tuesday with another episode. And yeah, that's it. See ya.
Wait, I have one last thing to say.
What's up?
Tomorrow, and probably when this gets uploaded today, it is National Nude Day. Okay? So I point that out.
Okay. You just had to throw that in there.
We're
gonna get demonetized now.
No, we won't.
Yeah, we will.
No, we won't. Good, trust.
What?
DMs are open. Just kidding. Don't send me anything like that. Please don't.
You just took yourself into a hole.
No, please.
Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll see you in the next one.
See ya.